Let's go ahead and add something to our vocabulary today. We are going to put solution to a system of equations. The solution to a system of equations would be the point of intersection. X, comma, y. You can either have one solution, no solution if they never touch, or infinite solutions, okay? Same line would be infinite solutions. Parallel lines would be no solution. So you would look at where they intersect, that point of intersection. Parallel lines like this means no solution. If they never intersect, that means no solution. If they are the same line, that means infinite. Same line means infinite solutions. So it's either it crosses at one point, x comma y, it's parallel lines and never crosses, or 3, it's the same line and there's infinite solutions. Okay, so we're doing a lot of Desmos, so make sure you have that out. So let's look at today's notes, which kind of go along with yesterday's whenever we graphed on Desmos. Maybe just about 30 more seconds to write this down. Okay, if you don't get it, you can copy it from somebody else at your table, okay? Okay, so let's look at our notes. So this is just a quick mini lesson, and then you're going to do some practice problems at your table. So number 1, or it says given two equations, find the point of intersection x comma y. So this says, what is the solution to the system of equations? So yesterday, in order to graph it, we have to get it to say y equals. If it's not in y equals, we do have to rearrange it. But like I said yesterday, we don't want to simplify anything because that's where the mistakes happen. We're just going to move it and leave it in that exact form, not simplify at all. So not combining like terms, not distributing, not dividing anything out, not removing any negatives. We're going to keep it just like we see it, okay? So this first one, we want to get y by itself, and it's a positive y, so that's good. Go ahead and circle that positive y. So in order to get y by itself, we need to get rid of this 2x. So you have to do the opposite of 2x, which would be negative 2x. So if I subtract it here, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to write it here on the other side. We can cancel those out. So now we have the equation y equals 40 minus 2x. We're going to leave it just like that, which we can't really simplify it anyway. The only thing that I taught y'all to do back in the fall was put it in mx plus b, but we're not even going to do that. We're going to leave it just like we see it. Okay, let's look at the next one. We want to get y by itself. I'm just going to circle the y. So I need to move this x to the other side. It's a positive x, so I do the opposite, negative x. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Those cancel out, and I still have a negative 2 over here. But this time it's negative 2 times y. So to get negative 2 off of that side and to the other, we have to divide because you always do the opposite of what is being done. So the opposite of negative 2 times y would be dividing by negative 2. And you have to divide everything by negative 2. Which, that's how you get rid of it. So that gives us y equals, we're just going to rewrite it exactly like we see it. So negative 20 over negative 2 minus x over negative 2. So everything is being divided by negative 2. So now we have these in y equals form, and we are solving it. So a solution, remember, to a system is where they intersect. Let's use Desmos. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to refresh my Desmos just so I have everything clear. All right, so I can still see both of them. I'm going to put it in. So y equals 40 minus 2x is my first one. And then my next one is y equals negative 20 divided by negative 2, which I really don't like that. Instead, I'm just going to do the shift or the slash button. Then I'm going to do negative 20 over negative 2, like that. That way it looks exactly like our paper. And then I need to do minus x is the only thing on top this time. So it's just x over negative 2. So I put this in exactly like I see it. Okay, and we want to find the solution. So what we're going to do is zoom out and then click on your intersection. So our solution is 12,16. 12,16 is our solution. So it means x is 12 and y is 16. See how it just gives it to us? Don't guess. Click it, and then you get it. You should only be on Desmos. All right. So let's go to number 2. Go ahead and make this big. Given a word problem, write the 2 equations that match the variables and values. Number 2, there are 15 plates in a kitchen cabinet. I would underline or highlight that. So 15 plates. That's a total, right? The diameter of each plate is either 7 inches or 12 inches. So we got 2 different types. The diameter of all the plates combined, all 15 plates combined, is 140 inches. Write the system of equations used to find the number of 7-inch plates, x. So go ahead and underline x and 7 inches. And the number of 12-inch plates, y, that are in the cabinet. So we have the 2 different variables, x and y. So let's talk about just how many plates are there total. How many plates are there total? How many plates are in that cabinet? What does it say? 15, yeah. So we want to write, remember that how many, how much? We did this back in probably like October. but we have a how many, how much kind of situation. So how many plates? 15. So we're going to say the 7-inch plates X plus the 12-inch plates Y is a total of 15. So that's the how many plates. Now let's go to the how much diameter. And that's where we attach numbers to our variables and give us the how much. So we have 7-inch with X, so 7X and 12Y. How much diameter? Total combined 140 inches. And then this one doesn't require us to solve. It just says write a system. That's it. We don't have to solve on this one. Just write the system. We're done. All right, the last example. Given two tables, use Desmos to find the equations. So number 3, the tables of ordered pairs represent some points on the graph of lines F and G. Write the system of equations to represent lines F and G. Okay, so think back to all the Desmos things we've done. How do you go from a table of values to an equation? Go ahead and do that. Do them one at a time. I'm going to refresh my Desmos. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So I have 2, 4, 7, 11, and then 7, 10 and a half, 15.75, 22.7, right? Okay. How do we get an equation once you have a table in? What's the most famous equation in algebra? We know this. Yeah, y equals mx plus b. That's what we're going to put in, but we're going to use, see how these have ones? X1 and Y1? We're going to use those with it. So we're going to do Y1. Instead of equal sign, what do I put in? The little squiggly. That is up by the number 1. Shift, and then up by the number 1. And then mx1 plus b. And the reason I know to do this is because in the equation, it says write the system, or in the problem, write the system of equations that represent lines. So we know it's linear. Okay, so now we need to write our equation. So for this first one, line F, it's y equals 1.75x plus 3.5. But what if I want it in fraction form? So if it's not a repeating decimal, so it terminates. So see how this doesn't go on and on forever? It terminates. I'm going to change this to a fraction. So put in the next line 1.75. Do you remember how to change it to a fraction? What do we got to click? this little fraction with the circle around it. Click that. So our slope is actually 7 over 4. So y equals 7 over 4x. Because that's my slope. And then 3.5. Change 3.5 to a fraction also. 3.5. Click the fraction. 7 over 2. So plus 7 over 2. So that's our first equation. So do line G. So I'm just going to clear out my lines and put this table in next and find our equation. Y equals. One thing you have to be careful of is if your table changes to 2's. Sometimes that happens. So I'm just going to change these. Oh, -3, -2, 1, and 4. Then I have 4, 0, -12, -24. Okay, so we have the x1 and y1 changed. Now you have your M and your B. So it's y equals -4x minus 8. So we have our two equations and we are done, right? Those are your two equations. All right, so now what you're going to do is you are going to do these next 3 problems, find your solution. On the first one, it's already written as y equals, so you don't have to do anything special, just put it in. But these 2, you are going to have to do something special to put it into y equals. Okay, so go ahead and do that.